Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping, and it is March. Let's see here. It's already March 6th, and it's time for our monthly paper pumpkin workshop. And I'm really excited to share that with you today. We're going to be working on the February 2026 kit called Celebrate Spring. And we are going to look at the 3 kit projects in addition to making 6 alternative cards. So as you're joining me today, I'm really interested in knowing who is watching and where you're watching from. So please put that information in the comments. And if you're on Facebook, you just use the comments. And if you are on YouTube, please make sure you're signed into your account. And whether it be your Google account or your YouTube account, they're the same thing. But then you can use the comments to sign in there as well. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to shift the camera so that you're looking at my desktop. Let's see here. There we go. All right. And so we've got our paper pumpkin. All these bright lights kind of shine on the box. Anyway, this is the monthly subscription that I have to Paper Pumpkin. And I've already gotten everything out of the box, but I just want to open this to show you that it comes wrapped in tissue paper like a big present. And I love that. My husband buys this for me every year. And then I get a present every month. And it's just absolutely awesome. And so let's see what was all in this kit. Set that up to the side here. Okay, so first we've got the Stampin' Spot. So every paper pumpkin has at least one small, this is like a regular ink pad, only it's called a Stampin' Spot. This is Shy Shamrock. And then I got a stamp set, and this is called Celebrate Spring. So it's really nice with these 3 different sentiments. And then we've got some grass, we've got Easter eggs. So that'll be a lot of fun. I got adhesive in here as well. So I've got mini glue dots and some mini dimensionals. And we've got sequins to add to the cards. And, excuse me, we have linen thread. Then we have 3 different card bases because we are going to make, there in the kit, there are 3 cards of 3 different kinds. And so it's for a total of 9 cards. And then we've got some card fronts that came separately as well. And then we have a number of die cuts. Now, as you're looking at what's sitting here, this is for one set of 3 cards. I've separated out the die cuts into the projects that we're going to make today. And then also I've taken a set of them to make the alternative cards. And so I have 1 set left here. And then here are the envelopes. Aren't they pretty? And there are 9 envelopes for this kit as well. So I'm just going to set this off to the side, because I have to decide if I want to use that last set of card things to just make the projects, or if I want to continue to make some alternatives. And then also in the paper pumpkin is a set of full color instructions. And you can see here pictures of the 9 cards that can be made with this. If you flip this over, it will show all of the parts and pieces that are in our kit today. There's also a QR code up here that if you didn't have the opportunity to see a video like the one that I'm making, then you could watch them make the kit. Always know that now they make a small set of dies that go with paper pumpkins for 3 consecutive months. So this one is actually for January, February, and March. And then the thing that I like about this is the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors. So we have balmy blue, crumb cake, lemon lolly, peach pie, pretty in pink, and shy shamrock. So if you wanted to make card bases to go with this or any other things that you wanted to add to this kit, those are a helpful hint to what colors you may want to use. And then there is a sheet here that tells you how to separate out the parts and pieces into the 3 different types of cards or projects that are enclosed. And then they literally go card by card and show you what to stamp, how to apply your adhesive, how much linen thread you need, and then how to put the card together, even how many sequins they're showing you on the finished card. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started doing card 1. And so I'm going to just pull that out of the envelope here and set that aside. And we've got our pale yellow. What is this? Did it say lemon lolly maybe? And going to use my bone folder here as I get the card base ready. All right, we're going to do some stamping. And since these are photopolymer stamps, I am going to, let's see here. I'm going to use a pierce mat. Let me just go ahead and get these stamps off the window sheet here. All right, and just set that aside. And I need to get some acrylic blocks here. That would help. Oh, I need just a very small one. Let's see if our eggs will fit on the very smallest one. Sure enough. And I'm going to get that pierce mat. All right. And maybe a little piece of scrap paper here. All right. And so I'm going to open my Shy Shamrock ink and go ahead and start stamping on the little die cut that they provided here. All right, and stamp that off. All right. And we have to stamp the Happy Easter sentiment here. So let's see. There's that stamp. I need another block. Gosh, it seems like it was only Valentine's Day, and all of a sudden it's Happy Easter. Time is flying, for sure. Let's put this up here so you can see the stamping of Happy Easter. Well, hi, Donna. Nice to see you. All right, there we go. We'll wash that off. Okay, I'll set my ink off to the side here. All right, that's all the stamping we have to do for card 1. So now I will be able to put the adhesive on the back of those. So let's see, it says that we just need some of the mini glue dots for our Happy Easter banner. And let's see, we need a couple of dimensionals on our Easter egg. So we'll get that on here. All right. And then we're ready to put this together. So let me make sure I have this opening the right direction. And we're going to start with our putting our rabbit. I'm not going to put this down till I get the parts and pieces on here. So we have this beautiful floral wreath here, and I'm just going to take all of the mini glue dot coverings off of here. Not mini glue dot, dimensionals. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and go around the circle here and center this. Okay, and then we want to get our Easter egg on here. Kind of off to the side here a little bit. And our rabbit. Hi, Betty. So, Betty, have you already worked on your kit already? And there's no adhesive on the bottom here because we're going to be setting the banner over the top of this. So let's go ahead and take off. Oops, I need my take your pick tool to get the covering off of here. Hi, Marissa. All right. I'm going to just put that down along the bottom here. And tie just a small bow. All right, I think I probably need to trim this a little bit. All right, but I'm going to use one of my glue, one of these mini glue dots, and I'm going to actually take it off the adhesive covering. So that I can roll it in a ball. It doesn't want to come off there. Here we go. So I'm just going to roll this into a little ball so that I can put it right on the knot. There it is. Okay, it's right on the knot. And then I'm going to put it right by the rabbit here. And then trim those edges of the ribbon or linen thread. All right, and then I'm going to flip the card front over here and take all the adhesive backing off of these mini glue dots here so we can attach it to the front of the card base. And let's see, 2 more to go. All right, there we go. And let's just put that on top of the there is card number 1. That is just so festive. I love the size and the shape of this rabbit. Adding that little Easter egg really adds a little bit. And then with the pretty matching envelope. So that is card 1. I'll just set that off to the side and let's make card 2. So we'll go to the instructions for card 2. And we're going to get stamping right away for this one. So bring our pierce mat back in here. Pour out all the parts and pieces that go with this one. I've already got the adhesive on the back of our die cuts. They gave us a bunch of leaves and flowers. So just leave those there. And we're actually going to stamp the sentiment right on here. Let's see if the sentiment fits on. Maybe it'll fit on this one. Let me line it up and see if we can get it on this block. Oh, sure enough, it just fits. Okay. And then I want to see, are we going to do it this way? Yeah. So let's get our Shy Shamrock ink back. Now I haven't conditioned these stamps, so I need to really take a look. And you know, sometimes if you just stamp it off the first time, and if you want to wash it, you can condition it so that you get a better ink coverage. So let's do that because I don't want to miss any part of my sentiment. All right. Let's go ahead and now we'll ink it up. Oh yeah, that really helped to condition it a little bit. All right, and then we'll go ahead and center this on the square die cut. And just press down. Okay, sweet spring greetings. Set that off to the side. All right, we've got our stamped sentiment there. Now this one I need to add the mini dimensionals. To the back of this. And then just putting this up on the dimensionals will really add to the card front by having this pop up. So I'm just going to center that. Okay. And then I'm going to take all the adhesive off the back of these die cuts so that we can embellish the front of our card. I have to say, I think that this kit was really easy, pretty fast as far as making these projects. And I found that when I was looking at what I could do for alternatives, I found some fun things that I could add by using other things that either I had from other projects or, I'm going to use an embossing folder. We're going to use something called wobbles today and get some action out of our focal images. That's always really fun. So I thought I would share wobbles with you. I think that's a fun thing to do on Easter cards for the little people in our life. I guess even the big people. My husband likes it when I do something on his cards that has, will move around. I think everybody likes that. Back in the day, I remember there was hardly ever any cards that did anything fun. And, I would always save those. Little did I know that card making would be so important in my life later on, right? Okay, let's go ahead and just embellish the front of this card with some flowers and leaves. So let's see, we have these leaves first. We'll kind of put those as a base to the flowers. Let's see, I need to, here we go, another leaf there, and a leaf here, and then a flower. And let's get the other on top here. And we've got two flowers that are kind of on this section. All right. So that adds some dimension there by having that raised up sentiment. So just kind of an inside scoop of how you can make something look more interesting even when you're designing your own cards. So there is card 2. And I like how the envelope color matches the flowers. All right, let's go to card 3. And we've got a little stamping to do on this one as well. So I'm going to use my bone folder again here, and we'll get that ready. And we're actually going to stamp right on the card front. We're going to do some of the grasses on here. So let me get another block here. And I have to look at trying to figure out, oh, that's the direction that it goes. All right. And I'm going to wash it quick so I condition this stamp too. Seeing as I haven't used them yet. All right. Let's go ahead and get the Shy Shamrock. And now we're going to do some grass to go under the basket that we're going to be putting on here. So let's go off to the side and go off to the other side. Ooh, I have to be careful. Got a little ink on the corner of my acrylic block. Okay, and then I'm going to put this one off to the other side. And we'll put a little bit lower on the card. That's kind of a fun stamp. All right, and let's see, we need to do our tag. And we're going to do Hello Friend. Let's see how that's. Oh, that's taking the ink really good. We've got our tag. Let's see, and we have to stamp one egg. There we go. And this time we're going to stamp the other egg. So let me just move this one and put the new one on here. Seeing as there's two different designs. Okay. There we go. And now I think we're done with our ink. And you know what? This kind of, I went off to one side a little bit, so I'm just going to trim this egg a little bit. Since the die cut was a little bit bigger than the egg stamp. Okay, so we've got that done and that. Let's get this out of our way. All right, let's see how we want to put this together. So I'm going to take all of the adhesive covering I have over all of this off, and we have to add some to the new things we just stamped. I couldn't add the adhesive because I didn't want it to mess up our stamping, right? So let's go ahead and add some glue dots to the tag. And we need to add, let's see, what are we going to put? We're going to put some dimensionals on the back of our egg. There, and I think everything else already has the adhesive on, so let's just take these off. I must have static on me today. They all want to stick. Okay. Lots of parts and pieces on this one, lots of die cuts. But I think that's what makes it so fun. All right. So let's go ahead now and put it together. Well, it says to put the eggs on here first, but I need to see where my basket's going to go. Maybe hold it underneath here. And then I can place it. With the eggs underneath the basket. And let's see, then we want to put this other egg in the front, kind of. So that's 3D. That's kind of nice. And we want to also do that with the tag right here. All right, now we have the big flowers right on top of the basket and on the bottom here. And a little flower. And then we're going to have one that's 3D here. So we're going to put, let's see, this one here, and then the one that is on the dimensional on the bottom there. All right. Oh, can't forget our bow. Kind of pull those loops in and pull them out again. And then we're going to attach that right at the top of the tag. And I'm going to do that thing with the little glue dot again. Let's see if I can't get it off more easily this time. There we go. And make a little ball again. Right on the nut. And then we can trim the ends of our linen thread here. And there is card 3. So that went pretty fast. Let's see. Probably about a half hour to make 3 cards. And if you did the same ones right in a row, it would probably go pretty quickly. So those are the 3 cards that are the kit cards. And if you made 2 more of each of these, then you would have the whole kit. Or like I'm going to show you now, how to make the some alternatives using these same supplies, but we're actually going to get 2 cards out of each card to kind of multiply what we have. Oh, Betty, you already did do the kit. Okay. All right. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the alternatives, Betty, when you come back. And thanks, Marissa. I'm glad you're loving them. Okay, let's go ahead. You know what? I'm going to share a couple of announcements with you now before I forget. And then we're going to dive into these alternatives. So let me just set these off to the side and the instructions and do some announcements. And since I've just shared with you, the kit in the paper pumpkin, what that looks like, I want to let you know that there is going to be a price increase. Let's see, 5 days from now on paper pumpkin. And so with the price increasing, if you want to, avoid that for a while and you're interested in getting paper pumpkin, you should get them at the current rate now. So it's going up from, I think the current one is $27 per kit. It's going to be $29 if you buy it monthly. And the 3-month subscription will be $87. 6 months, $174, and 12 months, $348. So I don't have a price comparison right now, but I guess this is an FYI. And if you have questions about that, don't hesitate to contact me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. The other thing that's coming up very quickly is Monday. We're starting to do a 5-day challenge, and it's called Stamp Out Stress, the Stash to Stunning Confidence 5-day challenge. And what happens every day next week, Monday through Friday, there'll be a video in your mailbox at 9 in the morning with a lesson, a challenge, some tips on how to use your stash to make cards. And then by sharing your cards and feedback to a couple of questions, if you do that by midnight on the day that you watch the video, then that day there will be a daily prize that I'll do a drawing. If you participate in all 5 days, then there will be a grand prize drawing. And I'm actually going to do 2 drawings. One will be for a class that's usually $29.95. And there's going to be a scraptacular crop. Another time making cards together using scraps so that we get the most out of our paper crafting supplies. And that's a $14.95 value, and I'm going to give one of those away free as well. So if you are already in the Card Conversations Facebook group, you still do need to register, and the information is on a post in that group so that you get the daily emails directly to your mailbox. And then all of the activity where everyone will share their cards, share their feedback, and I'll let you know who's winning the daily prizes, and I'll pop in with additional information. That will all happen in the Card Conversations Facebook group. So don't forget to sign up. Great chance to win prizes. Great opportunity to be inspired by others in the Plum Crazy Stamping card community. Okay, also new product of the month for the month of March. And this is an awesome stamp set. So this is probably a $20 to $24 value. And if you place a Stampin' Up! Order with Plum Crazy Stamping during the month of March, you can get this stamp set for only $5 for as long as they are available. And what's really nice is these are two-step stamping, so you can put down one color behind it and then do the outline. If you can see this deer on here, and you do the outline stamp, and you've got a colored in image. So this is really a beautiful stamp set. And so this is for the month of March. And then the Plum Crazy Stamping deal for putting in at least a $50 order is a 4-card free tutorial utilizing the Paradise Garden, which is a new online exclusive stamp set. And these card ideas can be used not only for this suite, but also suites. So here's just an example of these cards where you'll get the tutorial for how to make these, and all of the card measurements as well as the instructions. And I email that out then at the end of March, right to your mailbox. All right. So if you have any questions, let me know. And we're going to go ahead now and start making some alternatives. So we're going to start first with, let's see, let's go ahead and do this one. This is a fun one. So what I've done is taken the card base, which you all already saw, and I cut it in half. Okay. And then I trimmed this one side. I left in the full size of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this side I trimmed down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Okay. And then to get more out of this, I'm actually taking a piece of cardstock. I cut it in half the long way. So this is 11 inches by 4 1/4. And then I scored them at 5 1/2 inches to make separate cards. Okay, and that's what I'm doing with each of these cards. I'm just using basic white as my card base. All right, so for this first one, I am going to be just gluing this right to the card front. And I am going to use the sentiment that we already used earlier, the one that said Sweet Spring Greetings. So let's go ahead and stamp that before I glue it down. So I'm going to just grab my pierce mat here and very simply stamp the sentiment right on the card front here instead of using the die cut. So I'm just going to center this right there. Okay, and you know, while I've got this stamp out, I'm also going to just use this same sentiment on the part that was the pop-up die cut when we were doing the actual card for the kit here. All right, just make sure I've got that all inked up and center this and go ahead and press just straight down. And there we've got that one. All right, so then let's do this, the very simple card here before we do the next one that we're going to zhuzh up a bit. So I'm just going to take my multi-purpose glue and I'm just going to glue this card front right to the basic white card front. And just slide it right into place, which it's really easy to do when you use the Tombow glue. Okay, let's throw the lid back on here quick. All right, and then I'm going to just use these tulips to embellish. So I just need a couple of mini dimensionals here. Because I want to make sure that I add some interest by having these have a little height by adding the dimensionals. Okay, so let's just take the adhesive off of here. Yep. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add one of these goes another direction. I think I'll add that one over this way, and how about right in the center there? All right, so that was easy enough just to make one card, and then you can write, or you could use another stamp set if you wanted to add more, or just to add the Easter eggs on the inside from the stamp set that goes with this paper pumpkin. All right, now to create the front cover for this one, I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and use an embossing folder. And since I wanted to use the die cuts that came with this card, I have the 4 die cuts that are leaves. I decided to do layered leaves as my folder. And remember, if I want the leaves to be rising up, I want to make sure that I am putting the Stampin' Up! Logo to the front. And then I'm going to just square this up in here. And just run this through my cut and emboss machine. There we go. So I'll be right back. So any embossing folder would be fine. Wow, that one is a very thick folder. So let's try this. Trying to get the right sandwich. All right. So that's really going to add some nice interest to this. And I wanted to have a little wider white border. So that's why I cut this at 3 3/4 by 5 instead of doing the 4 by 5 1/4. But if you liked, just wanted a thin border, then I would just use that other measurement. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop up the sentiment here, the die cut that actually was part of the kit. So I'm adding a little something by using the embossing folder, but I really am using the parts and pieces that were actually in the kit and not adding additional cardstock outside of the basic white card bases this time. And still ending up, with the spring and or Easter cards. So you can center this or put it up a little bit. Here, for a little interest, I'm just going to have it be up just a little bit, okay? And then In this case, I am going to, let's see, do I want to have these pop up or be low? I'll tell you what, probably fastest to just do the dimensionals, and I'm just going to put one in the center of each of these leaves. And then go ahead and take that adhesive off. Okay. And then, that really gets up pretty high on there. Let's see here. Kind of put it off to the side a little bit. So the dimensional itself is on the card front, not on the sentiment piece. But giving it a little lift to match the sentiment. So there is the second one. And then I thought just taking this piece and putting it inside just to add some interest when I do my sentiment. Or, write my little note in here. Oops. That's still pretty slippery, obviously. Let's get it lined up properly. And if you want to, let's do this, and we can probably just snip this. See if I did that straight enough. And put this bottom on there too. Because these were the little strips that I took off of here. There we go. So that makes it a little bit more interesting on the inside. Oh, it's kind of tight up here. I think I'll go like this and just trim. I think I'm just going to have to crease it good with the bone folder. There. All right. So there are 2 cards from that one. All right. And then let's go now to our second card and see what we can create from that. And this is where I'm going to use those wobbles. So let's go ahead and look at this. So once again, I have the card front here. And then I took the card base, which was just that pale yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that onto the card front here. All right. And then I'm going to, let's see, I think we'll pop up this wreath of flowers. So I'm just going to add the dimensionals around here to pop it up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to do glue dots to the back of the banner here, but let's go ahead. We have to stamp on that, and we're going to add our wobble to our little rabbit. So let's see. First thing I'm going to do is actually put this on the card front. So we'll take off all of the coverings to the dimensionals. Okay, and center that on the card front here. Okay. And then I'm going to do the Happy Easter. So let's go ahead and just ink that up with the Shy Shamrock. Okay. Like I said, I'm just going to use glue dots on the back of this. Another one here. Okay. And we'll put that on the bottom of our card here. So we've got that. And now the star of the show, we're going to use the wobble on our little bunny here. So we're going to just set him right in place there. But let me cut this open. Now you can get these off Amazon. And what it is there's a coil where you put this on the bottom, this on the image, and then let's show you how fun this is. So, got to take the adhesive covering off of here. And then the adhesive covering. Let's see here. I'm not trying to make this easy here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to put this on the rabbit. And then I'm going to set my rabbit where I want him on the card front. And then the fun thing is, he actually moves. Isn't that fun? So you can kind of tuck him under here a little if you want, and then take him off and make him move around. And I think what will be fun with him is let's give him this 6 or 7-inch little bow again. Cut this off because I think when he wobbles it'll be fun if he's got a little bow. So let's just tie this again. And put a glue dot on there again, right on that knot. Okay. And just put it right there. I'm just going to trim this a bit. Okay. I don't even think it cut. There we go. All right, so that's one. So let's see the second card. Using the other half of this. So then for this one, now I'm going to need to, now these are from, what I took was the other part of the card base. I took this card front, and I'm going to put that on there. And then, if you remember, we had the storybook friends. So there was this suite. And then there were these die cuts. But remember, there was also designer series paper, and all of these die cuts were in there. And I decided to use 2 of those. So what I did is I took the mama duck here. And now where did the other one go? And this little baby duck. And then I thought the Hello Friends would be a nice, we'll stamp that right up here on the front, and then I'm going to add a wobble to the mother duck here. Just making this interesting using the same, card design, making it look a little different. And now if you don't have the designer series paper, you could stamp any rabbit that you have, any little animal friend, and using the Hello Friends stamp would absolutely work with this design. So I'm going to glue down this little guy. I think I will pop him up, though, with dimensionals. He won't wobble like the big duck, but at least he'll be standing up from the card front. So I'm going to just put him down in this corner. Okay, and then let's attach the wobble to the larger one here. I'll tell you, once you get these wobbles, you're going to kind of get addicted to them because they're so fun. Okay, so I'm going to put that right in the middle of our duck here, and then take the bottom part, adhesive off. There we go. And then attach that right to the card. And then this one wobbles. So let's go ahead and glue the card front down to this other layer. Now, if you wanted to just glue this down to the white, you sure could. I just like that this pale yellow is in between, and why not utilize it, right? And then we're going to put the glue on the back of here. All right, and so there is the second one of those cards. So these both have the animation of the wobble. All right, let's go with card 3. Just kind of get my ink out of the way. I don't want to stick something in it. All right, and so this one, just going to set those off to the side here. So I did the same thing. I've got this. I'm going to put the card front right on this card base. Use my little slide factor there to get that right where I want it. And this one I'm just going to stamp the tag. So we're going to use the Hello Friends again. Okay. And then I'm going to, you know what, since I'm doing this one kind of with the way the other one looked, I think I'm also going to stamp the grass. I really like the way that looked on here. So let's go ahead and do that again. That was kind of like 3 stamps. The one, and then off to the other side, and then right in the center near the bottom. All right. And then we're just going to layer these on as we did on that first card. So we're going to just put some glue dots along the eggs that are going to go in the basket. And let's see. On these big flowers, we'll just put the regular glue dot. And then the little flower is going to get a dimensional. And we need to put our dimensionals on the basket. Okay, and then on the back of our tag, I think we'll just put the regular glue dots there too. Yep. That one stuck to my finger. All right. So now just take these all off so that we can layer this up. Whew. Not quite sure where that one landed. I tell you, the paper pumpkin kits really make card designing easy. You know, you can follow the project itself or even to make alternatives. I love the extra stamp sets, and I end up using them, you know, like Easter next year. I'll take this one out along with my other Easter stamps, and it gives me more choices. I really enjoy that. Okay, so let's put our eggs in the basket. So that when we put it on here, we've got it lined up where we want it. Okay. And let's take our big flower, put it down here. We've got another flower to put up here. Let's do the one that kind of stands up on its own. We've got our tag right here. And this same thing, I think I'm going to add a bow on this basket. And just take that off so I can roll it up in a little ball. And put it right at the top of my tag. And probably trim this just a little bit. All right, so there is the first of these last cards. Okay. Oops. Get that back on. Okay. Now I'm going to actually do a little masking to show you how we can layer some eggs and grass on here. So this one, what I did is I actually took the front of this card and I cut a portion of it off because I just wanted to offset something right here with the eggs. So let's see how I want to do this, because I could do one of two things. I can pop up the eggs, or I can do masking of eggs with the grass on them. You know, I think I'm going to make this easier by actually stamping some of the eggs. Do I want to do them in different colors or keep this all monochromatic? Why don't we just keep going with our Shy Shamrock? And we're going to layer it the other direction by making eggs that pop up. So let's make a little pile of 5 eggs. And let's see, we've got that egg and this egg. So I'm going to take this. Kind of get that in two different directions, and I'm going to make one of these eggs to look like this on a side piece. Oops. Flip that over again. I didn't have it on the Pierce mat, and it didn't do so well. Okay, so we've got that one. Then let me clean this a moment. Scrub that one off and put my other egg on this acrylic block. Okay, and then let's do the one with the polka dots on it. And let's put this one right in the center. And then do this one. Well, that didn't take so good either. Let's do one more. Now I can do these in white, or it might be better if I do them in the blue. So I'm going to stamp this on the blue so they all match. Let me get that other egg back. I'm thinking if I do those white, it might just look funny. So let's just keep them all the same. Okay. Get that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut these two. And remember, fussy cutting, you go around the edge, leaving a little border, and you move the paper, not the scissors, to help you create a more smooth cut. Right? So I've got that one. I've got that. Okay. So now we can choose to either glue them flat or pop them. I think I'm just going to glue them flat. Okay. So then let's test our. So I kind of like those eggs. And then I wanted to put the sentiment of Happy Easter. But let's see, do I need to put it on that label? That's kind of plain, isn't it? I was going for the plain effect, but I wonder if this is just a little too plain. So this is the one, if I wanted to mask to put grass under here, I could. That's a lot of masking. What else? Looking for ideas. I have so many eggs, chick, and bunny stamps that I didn't need anything for Easter this year. I get it, Kathy. Hello. All right, let's see. What else can I do for this one? Maybe I'm going to have to take, I don't know if this will, nah, that's not going to go. Putting that mother duck on there. I think I need something for the card front. Looking to see what embossing folders I have nearby. No, that one looks funny. And layered leaves won't do it. You know, the other thing to do might be just to, let's do some blending brush color behind here to at least make this look a little bit nicer. So let's try that. Let's go ahead with our blending brush and the Shy Shamrock. And, you know, get going a little off of here. And just kind of go up the card front here. And see if that is enough to add some interest and not make it look so plain. All right, let's see how that looks. Well, that helped a little bit. And our Happy Easter. Maybe this is better if we use the larger stamp on here. Tell you what, I'm going to make my own tag with this. And I am going to still put Happy Easter on the bottom of here. Because with the eggs, it's like kind of needs the Happy Easter. Okay, so let's go ahead and just put that down here. All right, we've got our Happy Easter. We've got these eggs. Let's go ahead and make this our own tag. So I'm going to get the trimmer here. And that. And let's see where the top of we've got Sweet Spring Greetings. And I gotta make this smaller. Okay. I don't think I have my hole puncher here. But, adding we have this, and then maybe doing one of these eggs that's in white will just bump it up enough. Let's just try it. We might have to do 2 of them, since kind of doing things in odd numbers seems to work a little better. We could put that on there. It's starting to take shape, isn't it? A little bit better. Probably be more festive if I did it in Memento Tuxedo Black and then got out my Stampin' Blends and did a little coloring. There. I'm liking that a lot better. What do you think? Let's get the blending brush out of the way. I gotta wash that. Okay, so let's set these off to the side. And I'm going to glue this flat. Thanks, Aileen. Needed to have a little work there to improve upon my very blah design. I was going for simple, but it wasn't looking the way I was imagining it. Okay, so we've got that. Then I'm going to pop this up to give it a little bit of something here. Put that on the angle. And then I'm going to pop this one up. Okay. And then that one I think I'm going to glue right on the sentiments label. All right. Well, that's better. Being able to put another color behind here, actually using the Shy Shamrock and probably putting a little frame around that would really help too. But anyway, those are the 2 cards that come from that last card. So let's get these out here. Oh, and you know what? I didn't do any sequins. That would add too. Maybe this is the one we'll show doing sequins. We're going to put it right there. There, that zhuzhes that up a bit. Okay, so we've got those 2. And we've got our waddles. And we have these. I think I can bring these down a little bit. You still get the idea. So those are our alternatives. So, you know what? This doubles from 9 cards to 18 if you would do something like this with your 9 cards. All right. So with that being said, if you have any questions about Paper Pumpkin, about the 5-day challenge coming up next week, putting in a Stampin' Up order, please don't hesitate to contact me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. Thanks so much for joining me, and happy stamping, friends. I can't wait to see you next week. Bye-bye now. And Aileen, you're very welcome. Bye-bye.